First Contact and Subjugation. The Velaran flagship Eternal Dominion emerged from hyperspace with a violent tear in reality, its massive form casting a shadow over Earth's northern hemisphere. 6 escort vessels flanked it, their sleek, crystalline hulls reflecting sunlight in prismatic patterns that dazzled orbital satellites and ground-based telescopes alike. In Beijing, New York, Moscow, and every major city across the globe, people stood transfixed, necks craned skyward at the impossible vessels now visible in broad daylight. News channels abandoned scheduled programming. Social media erupted in chaos, and military forces worldwide scrambled to alert status. Inside the United Nations emergency session, Secretary General Okafor gripped the edges of the podium, her usual composure faltering as screens displayed the alien armada positioning itself in geosynchronous orbit. "We must present a united front," she urged the assembled representatives. "Whatever their intentions, division among us will only." The screens flickered, and the weathered face of Admiral Vextor appeared, his purple-tinged skin, and 6 golden eyes marking him as something utterly non-human. When he spoke, his words were perfectly translated into every Earth language simultaneously. "People of Earth, I bring greetings from the Velaran Empire, sovereign of 4,000 star systems and benevolent guardian of the lesser spiral arm. Your world has been chosen for integration into our glorious dominion." Nervous murmurs filled the chamber. The Chinese representative stood first. "And if we decline this honor?" Admiral Vextor's expression didn't change, but the temperature in the room seemed to drop several degrees. "Integration is not optional. Resistance would necessitate demonstration of imperial resolve, which we prefer to avoid. Your technological development has reached the threshold for contact, but you remain centuries behind our capabilities." To emphasize his point, every electronic device on Earth simultaneously displayed the same image: a Velaran vessel unleashing energy that reduced an uninhabited Pacific island to molten slag. The demonstration was sufficient. Within 72 hours, Earth's governments unanimously voted to accept protected status within the Velaran Empire. 6 months into the occupation, Captain Elena Reyes stood at the viewport of the Velaran Administrative Tower in former San Diego, watching alien officials direct the loading of resource tribute onto their shuttle. Her uniform, once proudly worn as commander of the U.S. Intrepid, now marked her as a liaison officer to the Imperial forces, a glorified assistant to the aliens who had leashed humanity with minimal bloodshed. "Captain, your presence is required," announced Sub-Administrator Krell, his translator device giving his voice a metallic quality. "The governor wishes to discuss extraction quotas." Elena nodded stiffly, following the alien through crystalline corridors that hummed with energy she didn't understand. Inside, she seethed. The tributes had grown steadily more demanding: rare earth elements, water, biological samples. The Velaran stripped Earth's resources while offering nothing in return except protection from threats humanity had never encountered before their arrival. Governor Maltek received her in his office overlooking the Pacific. Once the headquarters of the Pacific Fleet, it now served as the West Coast Administrative Center for Earth's new rulers. "Captain Reyes," the governor's voice was almost melodious, "I trust the southern water extraction proceeds smoothly. The desalination plants are working at capacity, Governor. However, at current extraction rates, we're risking ecological." "Your concerns are noted but unnecessary," Maltek interrupted. "Velaran science has determined these extraction levels are sustainable." Elena bit her tongue. Their definition of sustainable meant Earth would remain viable as a resource planet for the duration of their interest, not that Earth's ecosystems would survive intact. Later that night, Elena drove inland to what appeared to be an abandoned research facility in the mountains. After passing through multiple security checkpoints disguised as earthquake monitoring stations, she descended to a vast underground complex, one of 20 similar facilities hidden across the globe. Dr. Sanjay Mehta greeted her at the final checkpoint. "You're late, Captain." The governor had many demands, she replied, following him through reinforced doors into a cavernous chamber where hundreds of engineers and scientists worked around the clock. Tell me you have good news. Sanjay led her to a sealed laboratory where a piece of Valoran technology, salvaged from a damaged shuttle, floated in a containment field. We've made the breakthrough, he said quietly. Their adaptive shielding isn't impenetrable. It operates on predictable frequency patterns. He displayed a simulation showing energy waves. Their shields cycle through 12 resonance frequencies. If we can synchronize our weapons to match the precise counter-frequency at each cycle. Elena stared at the data. We could penetrate their defenses. Exactly. But we need more than theories. We need a prototype, and for that, you need more Valoran technology. Elena finished. I'll see what I can do. This was how it had been since the occupation began. While Earth officially submitted, a global resistance network had formed, not of guerrilla fighters, but of scientists, engineers, and military strategists pooling knowledge and resources. Their weapon wasn't terrorism, but understanding, learning every weakness in Valoran technology. 3 levels below Sanjay's lab, Elena entered a massive underground hangar where the true extent of humanity's defiance took shape. Project Phoenix, a fleet of 6 vessels unlike anything Earth had officially built before. Sleek, black ships with technology reverse-engineered from Valoran components, enhanced by human ingenuity and desperation. Admiral Wei Chen, formerly of the Chinese Navy, met her on the observation deck. Captain Reyes, how do our overlords fare today? Arrogant as ever, she replied. They truly believe we're little more than clever animals. We nodded toward the largest ship. The Defiance is nearly complete. Adaptive shield integrations are at 90%. Weapon systems require testing. The Defiance would be Earth's first true warship capable of challenging Valoran technology, not by matching their power, but by exploiting their weaknesses, the patterns and blind spots that emerged from thousands of years of unchallenged supremacy. We've identified 3 more vulnerabilities, Elena said, transferring data from her secure tablet. Their scanners have difficulty penetrating certain metal alloys. Their targeting systems recalibrate every 4.3 seconds, creating a brief window. Most importantly, their ship designs prioritize forward firepower. Their aft sections have significantly weaker shielding. Admiral Wei smiled. Overconfidence makes for poor engineering. 1 year into the occupation, Captain Rice found herself aboard a Valoran shuttle, accompanying Governor Maltek to inspect a new extraction site in the Indian Ocean. The Valorans had discovered that Earth's deep ocean waters contained trace elements crucial to their faster-than-light technology. You seem troubled, Captain, Maltek observed as they flew over the vast floating platform, where massive pumps drew seawater into processing facilities. I'm concerned about how these extractions affect marine ecosystems, Governor. Your administrators assured me your oceans are remarkably resilient, he replied. And the Empire's needs must take priority. After all, we protect 17 vulnerable species in this sector alone. Elena maintained her neutral expression despite the anger boiling beneath. In the months since their arrival, the Valorans had revealed little about the galaxy at large, except that it was dangerous and Earth was fortunate to have their protection. Whether these threats were real or manufactured remained unclear. As their shuttle approached the extraction platform, Elena felt her secure phone vibrate in her pocket, a signal from the Resistance. Excusing herself to the shuttle's lavatory, she checked the encrypted message. Phoenix rising. Initial TSTs UCCESSFUL. All parameters green. For the first time in a year, Captain Elena Reyes allowed herself to feel something like hope. In the hidden facility beneath the Rocky Mountains, Project Phoenix reached its critical phase. The Defiance powered up its engines for the first time, the energy signatures masked by specialized shielding developed from studying Valoran technology. Its adaptive defense systems successfully mirrored and countered Valoran shield frequencies in simulation. Admiral Wei addressed the gathered commanders, former military officers from a dozen nations now united by a common enemy. "We have one advantage the Velorans cannot imagine," he told them. "They believe their technology is thousands of years beyond our comprehension. They've never faced an enemy who could adapt so quickly, who could learn their weaknesses and exploit them in mere months rather than centuries." He gestured to the 5 smaller vessels flanking the Defiance, the Resistance, the Liberty, the Vengeance, the Independence, and the Sovereignty, each incorporating different aspects of reverse-engineered Veloran technology. "Humanity has always excelled at one thing above all others," Wei continued, "taking our adversaries' strengths and turning them against them. The Velorans believe themselves invincible because they've never faced humans before." Captain Reyes stepped forward. "We can't match their numbers or their firepower, but we don't need to. We need only to show the galaxy that the Veloran Empire isn't invincible, that humanity will not be subjugated." The commanders dispersed to their vessels, beginning the final preparations for Operation Liberation. 2 days later, Elena stood in Governor Maltek's office, maintaining her cover while feeding information to the Resistance. The governor seemed distracted, reviewing reports on his translucent display. "Is something wrong, Governor?" she asked carefully. "Nothing that concerns Earth," he replied dismissively. "A minor dispute in the Proxima system. The Empire has dispatched additional forces to maintain order." Elena's pulse quickened. The intelligence was correct. The Velorans were temporarily reducing their presence in the Sol system, creating the window they needed. "Of course, Governor. Will that affect our resource quotas?" "No. In fact, we're accelerating the ocean extraction project. The Emperor himself has taken interest in your world's unusual composition." Maltek turned his golden eyes toward her. "Admiral Vextor will arrive within the week to oversee the operation personally." That night, Elena transmitted the final confirmation. "Egili has tailons. Fo enix, while risey at dawn. Operation Liberation." Admiral Vextor's flagship, the Imperial Will, entered Earth orbit with an escort of 4 battlecruisers. From his command deck, he surveyed the blue planet with 6 golden eyes that had witnessed the subjugation of dozens of worlds. "Status report," he commanded. "Extraction platforms operating at 127% capacity." "Admiral," his first officer responded. "Governor Maltek reports the humans have been unusually cooperative." "They understand their place," Vextor said dismissively. "Their military capabilities were assessed thoroughly before first contact. Primitive combustion weapons, limited space presence, no unified defense strategy. A textbook integration. The Veloran Empire had perfected the art of conquest over millennia. They didn't destroy civilizations, they harvested them, extracting resources while maintaining the appearance of benevolence. Earth was simply the latest acquisition in their vast collection." "Admiral," the sensor officer called suddenly, detecting energy signatures near the lunar orbit. "Configuration unknown." "Display," Vextor ordered, his interest barely piqued. The tactical hologram showed 6 objects emerging from behind Earth's moon, moving in perfect formation. Their design was unlike anything in the Imperial database. Sleek, angular vessels with no visible propulsion systems. "Scan them," the Admiral ordered, a flicker of annoyance crossing his features. "Unable to penetrate their hull, Admiral. They appear to be employing some kind of reflective field similar to our own screening technology." Vextor's posture stiffened. "Impossible. Contact Governor Maltek." "I want to know what." "Admiral, they're accelerating toward us. Weapons signatures detected." For the first time in his 300-year career, Admiral Vextor felt something approaching concern. "Raise shields. Deploy interceptors. These humans need a lesson in." The first salvo from the Defiance struck the Imperial Will precisely as its shield cycled through the gamma phase frequency. The impact shook the massive vessel, alarms blaring across the command deck. "Shields at 82%, Admiral." the defensive officer reported, shock evident in his voice. They synchronized their weapon frequency to our shield modulation. Vextor stared at the approaching vessels in disbelief. How? Their technology was primitive just 17 cycles ago. On the bridge of the Defiance, Captain Alina Reyes stood in her rightful place, commanding a warship in defense of Earth. The last year of her life had been dedicated to this moment, enduring the humiliation of serving as liaison, while secretly cataloging every Valoran weakness. "Target the flagship's aft section," she ordered. "Time your shots precisely with the shield cycling." The Defiance moved with unexpected agility, positioning itself behind the massive Valoran vessel where their shields were weakest. The 5 smaller Earth ships engaged the escort cruisers, moving in complex patterns designed to confuse Valoran targeting systems. "They're launching fighters," reported her tactical officer. "Engage countermeasures," Alina replied calmly. As the Valoran fighters approached, the Earth vessels released clouds of specialized particles, another innovation born from studying alien technology. The particles adhered to the fighters' hulls, disrupting their sensor systems and causing them to veer off course or collide with each other. Admiral Wei's voice came through the secure channel from the Sovereignty. "Captain Reyes, their battle cruisers are attempting to flank us." "Execute Maneuver Theta," she replied. "Draw them into the lunar gravity well." The Earth fleet separated with precision, each vessel executing its role in a carefully choreographed battle plan. The Liberty and Vengeance led 2 Valoran cruisers into a position where lunar gravity affected their maneuvering, then hit them with electromagnetic pulses calibrated to disrupt their navigation systems. On the Imperial Will, Admiral Vextor watched in growing fury as his supposedly invincible fleets struggled against what should have been an inferior enemy. "How are they predicting our shield frequencies?" he demanded. "Unknown, Admiral," his science officer replied. "They appear to have studied our systems extensively." "Impossible. They've had no access to." The realization hit him. Governor Maltec, the liaison officers. They've been gathering intelligence. Another impact rocked the ship. "Aft shields failing, Admiral. The human vessel is targeting our propulsion systems with remarkable precision." Vextor's anger gave way to a cold, calculating assessment. The Empire had conquered thousands of worlds, but none had ever managed to reverse engineer their technology so quickly or effectively. These humans were different, adaptable in ways that defied Imperial understanding. "Open a channel to their lead vessel," he ordered. Alina was reviewing damage reports when the communication request came through. The battle was going better than expected. 2 Valoran cruisers disabled, the others damaged, and the Imperial Will suffering significant systems failures. Earth's fleet had sustained damage but remained operational. "Captain, Admiral Vextor is requesting communication," her communications officer reported. "On screen," she replied, straightening her uniform. The Admiral's face appeared, his 6 golden eyes narrowed in what might have been respect. "You have surprised us, Captain." "Reyes, Alina Reyes of Earth." "Captain Reyes, your tactics are unexpected. Your technology should not exist. We've always been quick learners, Admiral, and your people have been careless teachers." Vextor's expression hardened. "Perhaps, but you face merely a fraction of the Empire's might. I can summon 100 ships that would reduce your world to cinders." "You could," Alina acknowledged. "But first, you should check your ship's quantum communication array." Vextor's eyes widened slightly as reports confirmed that the Defiance's precision strikes had disabled the flagship's faster-than-light communications. They were isolated. "A temporary setback," he said, though with less conviction. "Admiral," Alina continued, "we're transmitting data to your ship. Please review it carefully." The data package contained evidence that Earth wasn't simply fighting back. They had transmitted everything they'd learned about Valoran weaknesses to 12 other subjugated worlds across the Empire. Worlds that were now preparing their own resistances. "Your empire is built on the assumption of technological superiority," Alina explained. "But you've grown complacent. You stopped innovating centuries ago, relying on the same systems, the same tactics. Humanity doesn't have that luxury. We've always had to adapt to survive. For several moments, Admiral Vextor was silent, analyzing the implications. Finally, he spoke. "What are your terms, Captain Reyes?" "Earth's immediate independence, a non-aggression pact, and freedom for any other world that chooses to leave the Empire." "Preposterous. The Emperor would never." "The Emperor will if the alternative is watching his empire crumble system by system as we share our knowledge with every world you've conquered." The battle above Earth marked a turning point in galactic history. The Veloran Empire, for the first time in 2,000 years, signed a treaty that didn't end in complete subjugation. Admiral Vextor, recognizing the existential threat that humanity's adaptability posed, advocated for acceptance of Earth's terms. 3 months later, Captain Alina Reyes stood on the observation deck of the newly established Earth Space Command, watching as representatives from 7 formerly subjugated worlds arrived for a historic conference. Earth, once the newest conquest of the Veloran Empire, had become a symbol of resistance and the center of a new interstellar alliance. Admiral Wei joined her at the viewport as the alien vessels docked. Not bad for a species that was using combustion rockets just a few years ago. Elena smiled. "We had good motivation. The Velorans are already adapting their shield technologies based on what they learned from our attack." Wei warned. "Next time won't be so easy." "That's the difference between us and them," Elena replied, watching as the alien dignitaries disembarked. Beings of different forms and evolutionary paths, united by their desire for freedom. They adapt out of necessity when forced. We adapt because it's who we are. Beyond the viewport, the Defiance and its sister ships patrolled Earth orbit, their sleek forms a reminder that humanity would never again be considered primitive or easy prey. The ships that the Veloran Empire had once dismissed as outdated had become the vanguard of a new galactic order, one where adaptation and innovation would always triumph over complacency and arrogance. In the vastness of space, other empires and powers took notice. Humanity had arrived on the galactic stage, not with a whimper of submission, but with the defiant roar of a species that refused to be conquered. The story of Earth's liberation spread across the galaxy, transmitted through trade routes and whispered in the secret communications of subjugated worlds. It told of a small blue planet that had done the impossible, turned the arrogance of an ancient empire against itself, and won freedom through ingenuity rather than overwhelming force. For the first time in 2 millennia, the Veloran Emperor summoned his full council to address what many were calling the human question. The Great Hall fell silent as he spoke. "We have underestimated these humans," the Emperor acknowledged, his ancient voice resonating through the crystalline chamber. "A mistake we shall not repeat. Study them. Learn from them. For they have shown us a truth we had forgotten, that complacency is the first step toward defeat." In Earth orbit, the expanding fleet of human-designed vessels prepared for whatever challenges might come next. Captain Alina Reyes, newly promoted to admiral, watched her homeworld rotate peacefully below, knowing that the galaxy had become a much larger and more dangerous place, but also, perhaps, a freer one.